So I'm sitting outside the parking lot of Planet Fitness. I had to leave the house early today, get up, clean the house, because we were showing the house. We had an open house last weekend. Several families come through. We've got a couple of families that are returning today. So I'm kind of just a nomad, kind of floating around town, waiting for these showings to be over. So I thought before I go to the gym, I thought I would just talk to you guys for a second, because I have just been so frustrated. You know, it's been almost a week since I had my meeting with my dramaturge, and I just feel tired. You know, it's like I've gotten 2020 to 2026. If I could show you the countless versions of this script, the learning while on the job, and I'm tired, and I'm having a hard time finding my way back in. I know I can do it, and I don't like being the guy to do the YouTube channel that's be like, I'm in my midlife and I'm starting over. Because you know what? Me and my friends, we hang with positivity. We pray together. We spiritual mind treatment together. We name it and claim it together. We don't sit in the problem. But I think what I'm trying to realize lately is that I don't. It's okay to be in front of the camera and not have an answer. It's okay to be in front of the camera and just not have to provide oh, I know you can relate, so let's just be mindset. The thing that made this musical, the reason I even started musicals, is because I wanted a place for my music to tell a story. A place where you could watch my music, see the life story around the music. It was the music. I never intended to do musical theater. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a little story for those of you who are just finding this vlog. I've been on the road since I was 12 years old. I've only ever wanted to be a recording artist. But I moved to LA when something happened in Nashville, which, when you see my musical, you'll know. And I spent about a total of 6 years going through what at the time was 8 major record labels. They've kind of folded into each other. There's not 8 major record labels anymore, but there was in the 2000s. It was tough because we get signed, go through the whole thing, sometimes record half that record, and then watch it all fall apart. So when I went to a cattle call for the Broadway National Tour of Rent on a whim to entertain myself, no headshot, no resume, no thought prior to that to ever wanting to be in musical theater, and they hire me for the role of Roger, you're going to say I'm lucky. But you didn't see the 6 years of standing in front of the biggest names of music moguls and hearing them tell you that the marketing department doesn't want to put millions of dollars behind someone to break them who's openly gay. You don't see that part. So you think just your first audition, your first job, your Broadway national tour. So that's fine. Think I'm lucky. When my whole life at that point, starting at 12 years old, was wrapped around being a recording artist. Things have changed. People don't make money on music anymore. It's streaming, it's oversaturated, it's wallpaper. So the best thing that I could think of to bring my heart, my creativity, was to the stage. Because that audition that got me Rent ended up in 20 years of musical theater, and a lot of it was developing new works, I love developing new works. And some of the shows that I've developed from the ground up you don't know about because they didn't succeed like Million Dollar Quartet did. And Million Dollar Quartet was amazing. Obviously, it won me a Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Musical. And I developed that role for 6 years before Broadway. But being a musical theater writer gives me another opportunity to put my music out there and to create a life around it. And my instincts as a writer are good. I wouldn't have gotten so far as to have a fully funded world premiere of Already Perfect had I not been onto something, you know? But I think that I'm realizing today in this parking lot that I'm sitting here looking at the camera wondering, like, is it the right angle? Does it look good? Do I have two chins? Does my neck look wrinkled? Do I look midlife? Am I going to age out of this role before I can do it in New York? All these insecurities. I face them every time I get in front of this camera to do this vlog. Where I was going with that was, I think my way in is going to go back to the music. Like, what kind of album would I want to make if I'm making a Broadway soundtrack? Like, what is my heart as a recording artist? A recording artist who's had 11 albums, who's done it independently. Like, we've got the foundation. I think we even have much of the architecture. It's just that I have to pick myself back up. You know, I wouldn't want people to be soft with me, but even the same breath, I tell you, it is a hard business. Tough skin, thick skin is needed. So I'm looking through old songs, old demos, the hard drive, just looking for inspiration in music. Not to use melodies I've already written, not to, like, just to remember who I am. To remember that the reason I'm here in the first place is because of my music, because of the strength and competitiveness of my own music. I'm gonna go work out.
This week I did manage to reopen my meeting notes, take a look at a few things, crack the script open, give a thought or two about some things, even sing it through a couple of songs. But more or less, I needed a few days to lick my wounds and to get a vision for everything that I want to jump back in and implement next week.
And my voice sounding loud. Hey, that's my boy. Oh, that gives you joy. I want you to know, boy, you deserve it. Nothing to prove. You're already perfect. Nothing to prove. We're already perfect.
I still needed a couple of days to breathe, so I did what I learned from the Artist Way book from Julie Cameron, go fill the well. So I went to the local community theater to take in a musical, and the Oak Ridge Playhouse is doing Come From Away. What a show.
I was just about to sit and vlog about the impact of the show, and then I walk into the coffee shop and I meet Gavin. So Gavin, will you tell everybody the role that you play and what your experience has been with the show so far? Because you've been open only like maybe 4 weeks, right?
It was just, we opened last weekend.
Okay, I saw the opening weekend.
Yeah, you did.
I saw the opening weekend. Okay, Gavin, tell us about yourself.
I play Kevin J and Ali in Come From Away. The show's been a really eye-opening experience. This is my first time doing a show that's not with a school, so it's my first show with people who are not all my age. And it's really eye-opening to get more people from different walks of life, especially in a show about a tragedy that happened before I was born. It's amazing to hear about like everybody's experiences with this tragedy.
100%. And I was just telling him, look, because I'm just meeting Gavin for the first time. I just walked in and was like, oh, what? And he's so gracious to sit and talk to us about the show. Your presence on stage, I never would have thought you were 19, because the show is layered. It's emotionally complex, and you approached this stuff so well. One in particular, though, a storyline that you
really add a lot of depth to is the Muslim man and his experience post 9/11.
How get this heavy emotion every night, especially there's a scene in the show where he gets violated through his religion, and I have to stand in front of the audience and talk about the violation of his beliefs in front of people who didn't care about it, and that's really hard every night to be so honest and be so open about this thing that's so sensitive.
That was such an education for me, and I have to admit, I'm surprised because I have Muslim family members who are very devout, but it had never occurred to me the circumstances around TSA, or especially in the pressure cooker of 9/11, and how the violation of something so sacred as our rituals that connect us to the divine. That was actually an education for me to watch you go through that. How complicated was it for you doing a musical that was from top to bottom music?
It was definitely a new experience. Learning to time everything with the music as well was kind of hard. Once we got the band, it was a big change because Braxton, like I said before, fantastic. He was playing all of the instruments on the piano before we got the band, and then once we got the band, it was like a new learning curve because we had a lot of cues that went with the music. And learning to listen to those cues in a different way because we had learned them with the piano, and then we have to learn them with the band now.
Well, and some of those modulations are like half steps and crazy on the ear a little bit. I don't want to take too much of your time because, like I said, I just kind of ran into him at Calamity Cafe. Gavin, thank you for being so gracious to sit with me. But why act? Why have you chosen to do what you do when I know too from experience that you don't have a financial safety net? It's not the best idea financially, and it's like ultimately you end up being one of those people in life where you have to have the toughest skin because it's just 99.9% rejection and 1% yes. And so what draws you to this? Like, why does your soul have to do this, and what do you feel like you want to accomplish from a community perspective with it?
So I haven't said this, but I'm getting my acting BFA at Missouri State University, and go Bears. And I chose to do this really because I want to find a way to give my life meaning. It's really like, I'm not a spiritual person. I believe that you give your own life meaning through your own actions, and this is something that I found that makes me happier than anything in the world. And I've told myself, if I can just make a living, even if I'm living paycheck to paycheck, by doing this, I will live a happy life. And I think that I enjoyed this so much that if I can do that, I'll live a happy life. This is what I found that I love, and I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that I can do this the rest of my life.
What I hear in that is actually something that I need to be reminded of this week, Gavin, which is the conviction of the soul and how to not deny yourself what your soul is satisfied by. And I can tell you from 20 years of doing it, my only job has ever been singer-songwriter or actor. I've never had another financial support, another job, another anything. And it's ebbs and flows. It's like the world loves you in the hugest moments and the world forgets you 5 years later, only for you to be able to be your biggest cheerleader in the lowest of times, but then also be the humblest guy in the room in the greatest of times. And it's a lifetime of that. If I were to give my advice for anyone in Gavin's place, it would be like, approach it with the texture of soul integrity rather than fame, rather than feeling like you're completing a part of yourself based on other people's approval, because their approval will ebb and flow just like your career will. And you can't depend on people lifting you up in that sense. You have to always be able to come back to yourself and say, I do this because I have to, not because they want me to, or they don't want me to anymore. whatever the case may be. The integrity of the soul. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to take that as a reminder for myself this week. I needed it. They saw me cry in the car 3 days ago. Thank you for being an example for me today of purity of loving what you do, period. Because it really is that simple, right? And we get away from that after the years of doing it and dealing with the business and the very hard parts that New York begins to hit you with down the road. I love your purity and your love for it. So that's Gavin, and I'm going to quit bothering this man. Bye. Back at my grandparents' house. That's where my brother and my sister-in-law live. And we're celebrating my sister-in-law's birthday. But I'm not sure that my sister-in-law wants to be on camera yet.
Look, Gavin, I had to get you with my brother-in-law. I don't
Happy
look good.
birthday.
I love you. Thanks for coming.
Buddy? Are you my buddy?
You like being filmed, Titan?
Are you cute? Are you precious?
This is my brother. He's nicer than I am.
He's full of shit, too.
He has a better heart than I do. He's a good fella.
He lies.
He also is addicted to Suno right now.
I've been here since I've been here. It's old, but it's home sweet home. My granddaddy built this place, and now I call it my own. There ain't too many places that I can say I belong, but it's easy to...
Okay, so last time I was here, I got to bring some vegetables and stuff home because my brother grows everything. And how's the garden doing this year?
Doing very well.
Corn, okra, you got more than that. Corn, okra, green beans, watermelon.
Tomatoes, cantaloupe, watermelon,
Tomatoes, cantaloupe.
cucumbers, peppers,
Cucumbers, and
peas.
peppers, and peas.
beets.
Beets? You got beets?
We got beets.
You know,
It beats the shit out of me, but we got beets.
I'll beat somebody for a beet.
Beat the hell out of somebody for a beet.
We grew up in this house. And now my brother has taken
Taking the reins.
the reins, keeping the garden growing,
Highway 61.
keeping the legacy alive on Highway 61.
I think you get the background side.
Say again?
There's a watermelon by my peppers. Choking out my banana peppers. Where? Oh, right there. Can you not see the watermelon? Come over here, look.
Oh, look at that little thing. Little watermelon. It's pretty.
Here's the thing I can't put together yet, though, because we are prepared for some chickens. Not a chicken in sight,
Not yet. I need 3 more poles.
but we're gonna fix that.
And then I'm going to fence it in. So next time I see you guys, you're going to have some chickens.
Free eggs?
Free eggs.
Free eggs.
Old County Highway, off of the beaten path. Roosters crow at sunrise and dust it settles fast. Rusted old mailboxes up at the crack of dawn. Yeah, faith and family live on Highway 61.
That's my brother's YouTube channel, so go and follow and subscribe and listen to him. He's gonna drop new music every week.
Every week.
Every week.
I knew I had to end the week talking with my friend Anjie Hosley, the spiritual doula herself, knowing that she would get me right and ready for a new week.
You get this idea, this divine inspiration, and you get excited and you start doing it, and then there are little hiccups, little bumps in the road, right? And so it stops us from progressing because we get that feeling of maybe being a little unworthy of the call. That maybe the call is a little too big for us to handle. But that's not true, because if you got the call, if divine inspiration has descended upon you, and you were open and available, and you said yes authentically with a whole heart, then it's yours. Even if it takes a little bit longer than you imagine, even if there were detours and pivots and crossroads that you had to take, even if you had to step back, because what I know to be true is that delayed does not mean denied. Like, there's a divine timing to everything. And sometimes when the dream comes, we're not the person ready to walk to and through the dream. There's some character building that happens with us. Yes? Is this feeling good to you?
It feels good, because I know that the clarity of the call was there, has been there. It's not like it's never felt pipe dream. It's always felt like non-hyped, organic, like this is a natural progression to my soul. So I've never, like, it's not like, when we're young and we're chasing something and we put something on a pedestal and we're just grasping, and it's like we can't even accept our life until we're at that finish line and we've gotten that thing. Like, it doesn't feel that way. It's never felt that way to like start writing musical theater. It's always felt like my soul just saying, and this is where I am now. But I think the part that's hard for me to accept is like, this whole idea of becoming the thing. It's like, I know I've changed. I know I've grown. But like, at some point, sometimes you feel like, well, what else do I have to be? Like, because I had been so humble to learn, so willing to take my time, pouring myself into structure, willing to collaborate. Like, I've said absolute yes to every stage of the growth. And at some point you just think like, well, what else do I need to, like, you gonna just keep beating me into shape? Like, I don't know. It just.
Okay. So let's step back. And what I hear you saying is me. When the call came, it was from Spirit, yes? So have you turned the process back over to Spirit? The revision, the pivot, all of it, have you surrendered back to Spirit? Have you gone, okay, all right, I'm here now, and I feel like it's me trying to do this. This is your divine idea. You chose me. I said yes. It's a collaboration. It's a partnership. So if I am saying yes to you, are you removing every obstacle? You know this story about me. When I started seminary school, I was like, hey, man, you want me to do this? And this is how I talk to Spirit, how I talk to God. I'm very like, hey, we're in this together. If you want me to complete this program, you are going to remove every single obstacle that's in my way. And when I got the call on a Friday to say, when you go in on Monday, give your 2 weeks notice, without a job, without savings, living in Chicago, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be homeless under a viaduct. And of course, that's not how Spirit works. Because when you hear it and you say yes, you have to be obedient and surrender enough to follow the directives. My life completely shifted from that point of me saying, okay, and Spirit said, okay. And I was like, okay. And there we were in this dance, and me saying yes and being obedient opened up a world that I didn't even know existed for me. So you have to be surrendered to the entire process, not just at the beginning, but through all of it. Okay, here's a little bump in the road, Spirit. I'm turning it right back to you. Yes?
I think you just hit it, because I haven't. I mean, I started that way. I mean, I remember when I wrote the best songs of this musical, literally would start every day in prayer, surrender, and asking the question, Spirit, how can this song be of service to the person who hears it?
Exactly.
And I haven't operated that way since all of the analytical, like the descent of analytical, like
all that.
Bullshit.
And I know. And it's great. I can humble myself and learn the things I don't learn. But the thing that I know to be true that you reinforced to me is the way that we get that that sweet spot is to connect to spirit, surrender, turn it over to say, this is not mine to do. This is not mine to do,
My hand's your will.
Yeah. My hand's your will.
My hand's your will. So our charge is to just be in that divine flow, in that sweet spot, you call it. I love that. The sweet spot where you're not contemplating anything other than the next right yes. Because I think you're looking at it, the whole kind of scope, right? Script,
which is overwhelming,
music.
Which makes me want to hide. It makes me want to jump off a cliff. Yes. The next right yes.
The next right yes. And then you go from yes to yes to yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you something that, is all woo-woo. I'm telling you stuff that I know. That I know works, it's proven, it is almost guaranteed if you do it this way.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I know that I know it works because I've seen it work too. It's like I forgot that I have to keep, yes, it's been a long road, right? It's hard for me to remember how connected to spirit I was in the beginning of this process when the beginning was 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the best thing that I'm getting right now is like, what did you say? My hand's your will.
My hand's your will. And, one of the things that has helped me through, me being a podcaster, an influencer, losing weight, doing all these things, right, is to go back to my why. Go back to why I started.
Shit.
Why did I start this? What was it like in the beginning? The excitement, the energy around it, right? Because that kind of wanes when you're just doing it.
Oh my God. I just realized that earlier this week, I was trying to evaluate my why, and it was still stuck in analytical. It was like, I want a place for my music to be. I want people to hear my music in a place where but the why, the real why is the same why as the kid who grew up in the church that just wanted to make shit that heals people.
Yeah. Then go back there.
I forgot my why.
You can't forget your why. That's going to anchor you. That's going to keep you grounded. That's going to make you, oh, my sweet baby, it's going to make you keep moving forward.
Yeah.
I mean, with my weight loss, I think about my why. My why has changed over time.
Yeah.
I started for very superficial reasons. My beautiful niece was getting married and I didn't want to be the fat ass auntie up there. I was like, I got to lose a little weight, right? But then my why changed. It was like, oh my gosh, she's having babies. I get to be the cool auntie in my 60s and 70s running around with kids, right? I didn't even think about that was a why. And that's what's grounding me now.
Yeah. I love that.
So you got to get back to what's going to ground you and anchor you in such a way that when things come, because they're going to come, right? The world is going to come. The world is going to do what the world does. The doubt of self and other people's doubts are going to come. And what you say is, no. I refuse to participate in that. I know my why, and I'm moving this way.
I think that speaks to also a lot of the petty bitches that want you to fail. The fact that you can't even find a friend who's rooting for you unless it's you or maybe 2 other people in my life, right?
Look, yeah. I tell people all the time, if you don't have any haters, you're not doing it right. If you don't have any naysayers, you're not doing it right. Yeah. You don't have a Judas, you're not doing it right.
Dang.
Jesus became Jesus because Judas was there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He helped him in his process of becoming. So let them help you.
It's a different kind of motivation.
It's a different kind of motivation.
It's just another kind of motivation. Yeah.
Look, you're a Scorpio. You know, you're like, okay, watch me.
Yeah.
You know, you get that Chicago bet. Somebody from Chicago tell you bet, you like, uh-oh, it's on. You know that they're getting ready to do some supernatural stuff because you told them that they couldn't bet.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual swagger that you have to have.
Love that. And that I gotta admit, I mean, I know this and I lost this. I've lost this in the process, and that's why I got so fatalistic this week.
And that's normal. Like, I think we beat ourselves up because we're not where we think we should be, right? Or we should be further along, and it's a process. Give yourself the dignity of the process. I say that all the time, space and grace for you and where you are.
Yeah.
It's okay to forgive, but be in remembrance of who you are and everything that God has called and created you to be. That's what I say. I'm gonna take
Anjie,
a little
thank
sip.
you so much.
Well, you know, I love you. You are welcome. Thank you. This has helped me too, because, you know, we get into these cycles and silos where we think we're the only one.
Yeah.
We're more alike than not.
It's true.
That's for the human race. We're more alike than not. And if we start to look for the common ground with everybody, it's better.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, I love the play in London. I'm going to love the next iteration of it. I am excited and I cannot wait, because I really do believe that the story you're creating is not just your story, but it's going to help so many other people. You remember when I had that one reaction to the song when you were first writing it? And I was sobbing because I was like, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to say yes to God and feel like I'm completely abandoned.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Amen.
Yeah. You know I love you.
Love you too. Next, right? Yes. My hands, your will. We're here to heal, not to stroke our own egos and figure out how we can be grand, but just to find the outlet to be of service. And I do believe that this is the outlet of service for me. Let's do this.